I wanted to ask you this about Ondas Capital.
Sure,
Because
yeah.
we hadn't really covered much of Ondas Capital today. And I mean, that's the main reason for all of the big money raises,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's important.
But if you remember when we were in Menlo Park last month,
Sure.
and that kid, he was pretty impressive. He came up pitching a medical device for ACLs.
Yes, yeah.
I really enjoyed his pitch. He was very impressed with the young man. But what I really got a lot out of was your response to him about the difference between, he's looking for venture capital, development capital, and Ondas Capital is all about growth investments.
Yep.
So I'd like you to just speak about
some context about that?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. So, we have, across our industry, it's been, God's work really, been, really difficult, building complex, deep technology. That's the integration of software and hardware. It's aerial, right? So there's orders of magnitude more complexity to make those work and safely. So there's autonomy, right? Because to get scale, you have to have more and more autonomy in these systems. So it's incredibly difficult. And so we've got engineering teams and the folks who support them, the folks who invest them have been doing incredible work under constraints, and it's hard. And this is a life that we've had ourselves as we've developed our Optimus and Iron Drone. That's technology development. And in that world, we haven't really built companies, right? Because the whole effort is, okay, you're not going to have your sales and marketing, you're not going to have supply chain or field support and services. You're not going to build that out if you don't have anything to sell. So that's a long and difficult process when you're creating new technologies in building and creating new industries. Mm-hmm. So we're at a point in time where we got that technology stack maturing. So, our view of the world is we need growth capital, right? We need to operationalize these capabilities, and that's when you build, right? If you're pushing on a string, if you're not ready to deploy the technology, the customer's not ready to deploy it because it hasn't been perfected, it's not necessarily reliable, it's not doing exactly what the customer needs. If you invest all that money in the operating plan, it's all burned,
right?
Because you can't keep those folks busy at scale. Yeah. So now we're making the transition because these systems are useful, they're being deployed, the customers are ready. So that's what we're doing at Ondas. We're deploying capital that is growth capital, it's operational capital, it's not risky development capital. We're not going out and saying, hey, I have an idea. If you give me a lot of money, I'll go build it, and 3, 4, 5 years from now, I'll tell you if it worked.
Right.
So that's an important distinction, and I think it's particularly important because the development cycles have been so long to get to where we're at. Most of our ecosystem, and that's the customers, that's the talent, that's the partners, that's the investors, are just used to saying, well, of course, this is venture capital. We're coming in and saying, no, we've seen this before. You have to transition, you need growth capital. And let me add one more thing about the NASDAQ, or thinking about this from a national security standpoint. So, our Department of War, Pete Hegseth, the White House, the Trump administration, and many others, there's a rallying cry to reindustrialize for national security. And, of course, that's what we talk about, that's what you're investing in. We obviously have that same view, and it's powerful. I think there hasn't been, up until maybe recently, an appreciation for how to do that and accelerate it. And we have to realize, I think, and leverage the fact that our biggest competitive strength, in addition to the talent, the spirit, our political ideals, is our economy, right?
Right.
Our economy exists because of national security,
right,
and vice versa, right? Where the security drives the economy drives security. So that they're tightly integrated. But our economy the power of the economy is such that we have these capital markets, which are hugely productive. Nobody has anything close to that, right? And there's massive capital here. So I'm out there pounding the table, say, hey, there's mission-driven investors. There's folks like yourselves who are a very important part of this ecosystem as individual investors or retail investors. There's institutional investors who are clearly, through their involvement with us, demonstrating they want to invest in this cycle. And of course, we're moving this to Ondas Capital as well. And so they're mission-driven, but they have a profit incentive. That's good. Because a profit incentive is going to drive the reindustrialization, is going to get us to where we're going to go faster. So after all a decade or more of developing technology, it's going to take some time, but but it is an S curve. So I think people, tend to think linearly about these things. It's like, okay, what's going to happen next year? They underappreciate what can happen over the next 3 years.
Right.
And that's where I think that's part of our opportunity.
Well, I just think that's a really important part of this potential to grow over this next 3, 4, 5 years.
Yes,
it's going to play a big part.